Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Want some candy?
We'll get to that. What's up, Candy Killers? Welcome back to another episode of Monster Candy Podcast with myself, Streamin' E from the Memphis Murdermen, Oubliette Sparks from Tsunami Bomb, and back again, Charlie Price, Charlie Bear from Steadfast, Valhalla Cinema, and kind of Tsunami Bomb as well.
Yeah, definitely Tsunami Bomb.
He's just fucking dipping his finger in everyone's cookies.
Well,
Or in their milk, I guess.
Or hey, I don't. It depends on if it's got a cream-filled cookie. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yes, we're back, and tonight we're going to discuss Lee Tonkin's 2022 aquatic monster movie, The Lake.
But
Premiered
first,
2022 and then came out in 2023 in the US anyway. But first, it's time for a little horror news. All right.
yeah.
Who's got some horror news?
not me.
I have a small one, but Charlie, you want to go first? Do you have one?
I got nothing.
This movie.
What? You're unpaired. So I have a couple small ones.
Okay.
David Cronenberg has a new movie that he is about to start filming called The Shrouds, and Guy Pearce was just confirmed in it, which he picks some really fucking weird movies sometimes. So I'm curious as to see what those two will do together. And the premise, I don't know if you looked into it. It seems kind of interesting. It's like some kind of like, basically after people die, it's like, they
Sounds
call it a
awesome.
tool. Well, no, it's it's Cronenberg, so like I know whatever I say is not going to be really what it is, because it's totally going to be something fucked up and different. And of course, every article about it says something totally different. Yeah,
Sounds
basically,
about right.
yeah. So it's sci-fi, and it's about a tool or device that enables mourners to connect with their dead loved ones. And he first installs it at a cemetery, and it allows the clients to watch their departed decompose in real time. And some shit goes down. I think there's some like grave robbery sort of stuff. And obviously, I'm sure it goes somewhere, this isn't in the article, but I'm just going to jump to conclusions and figure it goes into the realm of like, was the tech or whatever good or bad,
Right.
life thinking
Some sort
about
of
stuff.
body horror.
Some sort of, it's
Yeah.
all these people watching decomposing bodies, which I don't know
Well,
how that
I
actually
mean-
helps you mourn.
Yeah. I meant body horror of the living.
Oh, maybe they bury
Well-
people alive. That would make it cool.
Maybe. Oh my God. What if you just totally got the whole plot right now?
You heard it here first, folks. I am a psychic,
Oubliette called it.
and that's what it is. The other one was, I'm kind of interested. It's weird because it's on all the horror sites. It's going to be out on Lionsgate, but it kind of has a weird grouping for that. Seth Rogen is doing it, and it's called Cobweb, and it's got Anthony Starr. And if you guys have watched The Boys, he's Homelander. And it has Lizzie Kaplan, who's funny as shit, and I haven't really seen her in much lately since like Hot Tub Time Machine, I think.
Who is she in
Um,
Hot Tub Time Machine?
she's the main girl he has a crush on.
Okay.
So it's called Cobweb, and basically, this kid kind of decides that his parents are like maybe not his parents and there's something crazy. But I think that it's everything I read about it makes it sound like it might be more of like a comedy horror, kind of like Mom and Dad, but a little bit more on the supernatural side,
Yeah,
which I like that tone of movie.
yeah. I mean, Seth
And
Rogen's
Liz,
involved too, so
right, and like Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr, they're both like super funny with dark comedy stuff. So
right.
I'm kind of curious to see where it could go. I hope that it is that, and they don't try to just make a horror, because that would be really weird with that lineup. But weirder things have happened, so
This is true.
we're gonna see.
We
We're
will
gonna
see.
see.
All right. Well, I'll give
But
anything a
that,
shot, I guess.
yep, that's basically what I got. And then, oh yeah, Nicolas Cage said he wants to be the Wolfman now. So there's that. But
Of
he did
course he
say that there's
does.
been too many Wolfman movies, so that probably won't happen. But it could. So
I mean, I will say, I mean, Renfield looks like it's going to be funny. It's going to
it
be a
looks
Nicolas
good.
Cage movie. Like it'll be it'll be good for like a spooky comedy.
Mhm.
But come on now. Nicolas Cage, calm it down a little bit. Or don't. I mean, I don't know.
What if he does all the Universal monsters?
In one movie, he plays a movie. He's in a
No,
movie where he
no,
just plays
no,
them all.
no. He's gonna do like all the movie for each one, just so we can be
Stock up on.
graced with Nicolas Cage's portrayal of each of these characters, so we can
Uh,
know how they really should be and how
right.
everyone else has ruined them.
Yeah. Yeah. I did that little clip I sent you of him talking about his inspiration he drew for Renfield and and all that stuff as Dracula. And
Hmm.
he had to bring up the mid-Atlantean accent, which we talk about quite often on this podcast.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Where's Mills when you need him with his mid-Atlantean accents? I got a couple things. One thing you sent me a while ago, Oobs, or not a while ago, like last week, the Black Demon, the R-rated Megalodon movie that's going to be coming out later this month. Uh, I mean, we'll see. It looks like it could be all right. I guess it's based on at least a true Mexican lore, but
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll see. It won't hold a fucking candle to the Meg because I love the Meg, but like
It's just so weird how much you love the Meg. The
I
Meg
love
is
it so
good.
much.
It's fine. But like you were just like up the Meg's dick all the time.
All the time. I am steady humping on the Meg's dick.
Yep.
This uh, looks like it's gonna be a lot of like about the family and oh, the dad saving the day and it's gonna bring us closer together unless they all die,
Kind of
which would be
like
great.
it's
But
reminding me of another movie I just watched.
which one?
A monster movie that was about families.
Oh, I see what you're doing. All right. Well,
Hmm.
before we get to that, I got one more. Um, now this one could really go either way. So the mole people,
What?
yeah, they're gonna remake this. I mean, I don't know.
Why?
Does I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, it's not one of my favorite Universal monster movies, but because they're running out of like, they're like, all right, we're redoing all the same shit from like the late 90s and early 2000s. So we got to
Why
go
don't they just
deeper.
ask Chat GPT to write them something?
It'd probably be
Comes
better.
up with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. We'll see. So Chris Winterbauer is writing the script based on a pitch that Universal Pictures acquired from Winterbauer with Robert Kirkman, Walking Dead. Oh, it's a new take on the mole people, because that's always what we need. A new take on every movie that's already been done. So in the new take, a woman travels to a town veiled in conspiracy to rescue her grandchildren from their father. To do this, she must fight through hell in the underground tunnels where the mole people reside. That sounds fucking terrible.
It does sound bad.
Like, I don't know, whatever, man.
I've never even heard of the original mole people.
Yeah, I mean it's all right. The designs for the mole people are cool, but it is what it is. But yeah, they could just remake it and make it better.
Sure.
Nothing needs a new take. If it's like a mediocre movie but has cool aspects, just remake the movie and make it better. I mean, that's all you got to do. You don't need the new take. Whatever. Ugh. You got anything else, Oobs?
I don't.
All right. Well, that's been all right. It's time to get into the lake. Now, just going down on IMDb's thing, the first feature review just says, nope. All right, I'll read the storyline. A gigantic and bloodthirsty monster emerges from a lake after its egg is stolen and unleashes its fury on a town's inhabitants, leaving a trail of destruction and death in its wake. The town of, what is that, Boincan, now cut off from the outside world, must mobilize its officials and citizens, as well as a group of scientists that are in town conducting research to catch the predator before it's too late. Sounds better than the movie was. All right. Look. All right. I'm gonna start off with things I liked about this movie because I don't want to shit on it too much. It had a monster in it, which I thought the monster was actually kind of cool, so I was pretty stoked on it. Did have a lot of practical effects, which was also cool. It didn't waste any time getting into it, which is another thing. But then that time just kept going and going. The premise was good. I was like, okay, this is a simple.
But it can be confusing if you're not paying attention.
Totally confusing. I had to rewind it a few times. Like, did I fucking miss something?
So did I. And then I went online just to read like a brief breakdown, and then I liked it more. But had I not done that, I would have thought I missed something.
Right.
And
yeah.
And after realizing the whole storyline, I don't think that it's bad. Just because it is in line with the other like monster movies like that. Because a lot of them have it where like they kind of do inhabit the world with people, and there's like this kind of balance or whatever. But like the way they got there wasn't good.
No.
But where they got was cool.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah, like I wanted to like this movie a lot more because there's aspects of it that I liked. I'm like, all right, cool, fucking aquatic alligator, salamander, fucking giant lizard monster coming out because people keep fucking with
And
its
there's more
eggs.
than one monster.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was confusing for me at first too. Like, saw a big monster, and then all of a sudden, now there's a little fast one running around.
Right, because
I know. At first, I thought they went back in time, and I was like, "Is that the monster as a baby?" And then I was like, "Oh, right."
Yeah.
Oh, also the Jurassic Park scene. So
Right.
there is a scene that is straight out of Jurassic Park, but it's one big monster in a car, just like the Jurassic Park Jeep scene, except for when the monster has its head on the left side of the car, it's making a higher registered noise. And then when it's on the right side of the car, it's making a lower registered noise. So I thought there was two at one point, and the movie's so dark that I just like was very confused until you only saw one monster walk away. And I was like, I swear it was two knocking that car different directions.
Yeah. Dark and wet. There's a lot of rain.
Very wet.
Um, yeah, like man, the premise was good. It just it fell victim to the like, all right, let's add more than it that needs to be added to this. So they, implemented way too much of like a personal humanity subplot story to it that just kept it going and going. You're like, dude, this movie could have
Right.
been over like 40 minutes ago.
Well, I think this one suffers for what has happened to a lot of the movies we've been watching recently. It's like they're fine, but there's definitely a line where it could have gone one way or the other.
Hmm.
And I would have been okay if it got into more of the lore and how like the monster kind of like imprints on humans and maybe eventually the human kind of becomes one of the monsters or
Right.
whatever. But like they didn't get into that enough to make it cool. Instead, it was just this parlor trick that kept happening to
Right.
add this subplot that didn't really need to happen.
Or even makes sense
Um,
because they didn't explore it really at all. And you're like, what's going
I
on?
mean, at the end, I think they pretty much imply that the brother is like one of the smaller monsters now.
Right.
At least like it wasn't like the small monster before because it moved differently, and I thought it looked a little different. But maybe that was me reading into it too much. But it had to go one way or the other. It just needed to be like a monster movie with like craziness and everybody like and like the biggest plot point being like them figuring out it just wants the egg. Or it needed to like go way
Check
more into the
yeah.
lore.
You're right. Which,
And instead it just like kind of like hopscotch to each side and never really got to either one. So you're like really confused.
that was one of the things that bugged me and I didn't like about this movie. Stop fucking with its eggs. Like in the beginning, there's the fishermen were like, oh, it's an egg, and they're like fucking with it. It comes up and kills them all. And then later, a little bit later, the the young the girl, I guess the
May.
youngest sister. Yeah.
So did you get that the fisherman was their dad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Charlie did. I didn't until I read it. And I was like, oh, okay.
Here's a funny thing. So it had subtitles, which I hate most movies with subtitles. I didn't read any of the subtitles. Like I would check in every 20 minutes and like read a few lines. I'm like, all right. So I didn't read. I just kind of guessed what was going on, which, I mean, it's sort of easy to follow in the beginning. Like you're like, okay, these people seem to be related and
No,
whatever.
that's where I fucked up and I had to go back and actually read the subtitles.
There's a point. It could have just been my luck where I decided, all right, wait, okay, I should probably read a little bit, and it kind of, implied what was going on, who was who, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
and then I would check back in another 20 minutes or so. But yeah,
Yeah. I
So
made that mistake and had to go back.
right, the youngest daughter gets the egg, and I get it. She's like a little kid. The little kid, I don't know if it. Apparently, she didn't die. She was just hanging out in the swamp for a
No,
while.
she like went and hid.
Yeah, and
She
I was
went
like,
and hid with the egg. Like, I'm not giving this up and throwing it in the water. It is my fucking egg.
that's the part where I had to rewind because I'm like, wait, didn't she didn't she die when like shit went fucking sideways and the monster came out and just fucking murdered everybody? Like she shows up an hour later and I'm like,
Mhm.
what? Hold on, I missed something. So I'm like going back trying to figure out if I missed it.
And
Like,
she's
nope.
friends with the creature that the
Right,
she's just been hanging out with him.
Well, because
right.
one's her brother.
I I guess.
She took care of the egg and made sure nobody heard it.
Right.
But no, that because remember the whatever happened to her brother, but even before that, once he got bit, he was like psychically connected to those
Right.
monsters. So
Yeah.
like I'm sure she had a relationship with them. And
Right.
did you know like kids and egg, that's like a real thing that kids get obsession with eggs? I found out about this week because the actress from The Menu, Anna Joy, what's her name? The main girl from The Menu, she was in The Norseman,
Right. I don't know her name, but I know who you're talking
blonde. Yeah.
about.
So an interview with her came on and she talked about her obsession with an egg and how she would take them all out of the fridge thinking that they were going to hatch and they were hers. And like she even showed all of her family photos. She ruined them and her mom was pissed because she'd have eggs in her hands. So I looked it up and it's like a real thing. Like when kids figure out that, animals can come out of eggs, they get into this like obsessive compulsive sort of like it's my baby thing and will like
Hmm.
hide out and take the eggs with them. It's so creepy.
That's terrifying.
I mean, I'm definitely obsessed with Cadbury eggs. Cadbury cream eggs are
Gross.
fucking delicious.
No.
What?
No,
Oh,
thank you.
No,
I
no.
love them.
But Reese's eggs are by far the superior Reese's because the chocolate is very thin and there is a fuck ton of peanut butter.
Yes, I got some of those too because it's Easter time.
It
Zombie
is.
Jesus rises from the grave to give people Cadbury cream eggs and Reese's peanut butter eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious.
But the graphics were cool.
Right.
It was
I was
incredibly dark though.
Yep, I was going to mention the practical effects and everything were pretty awesome, except for that one scene where it was just like all CGI, where it's running kind of on top of that mountain thing. I was like, why did they they didn't need to put that in? It was just kind of weird. It was out of place to me. But I mean, aside from that, yeah.
I learned the hard way with like the Asian languages. I need to watch the subtitles. I feel like I get spoiled. Well, because some of the ones that are, like
Dubbed.
German,
Mhm.
French, whatever, well, dubbed, of course, but a lot of the European ones, like, we know enough of the base vowels and words to where it's like you don't have to pay attention, and I'm still picking up mostly what's going on. Like,
Right.
obviously not specific stuff because I'm not fluent, but like I'm getting it more just from hearing familiar words. Like a Thai movie, I can't fucking read the news on my phone while I'm casually watching the movie.
What is that?
Because then I have to rewind it, and then an hour and a half movie turns into a 2 hour movie because I'm a dick.
Oh yeah, Jack Talk Thai, real good. That's what I kept thinking. Ben Stiller. Yeah, this movie, man, I really wanted to like it more.
Same. I was so excited when I first read about it and saw the people involved and saw what they had done. And then all of a sudden, no one heard anything and it just got released. And probably what? That's why, because someone watched it and was like, "Oh, we don't need to pump this up as much as we were.
Right. Yeah.
Let's back up a little bit. Little premature ejaculation. I'm throwing this to the world."
Like, oh. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. A lot of people are like, it fucking sucks. It's so fucking dumb. I wouldn't say that. It's just,
No, it's fine.
yeah, there's stuff there. It just wasn't executed to where it needed to be. But I wouldn't say it sucks.
And on paper, it sounds great. The people
Right.
involved with it, even the storyline, I could see why whoever put money into this was like, fuck yeah, let's do this. And probably
Right.
put a lot of money
Mhm.
in advertising just when they had the first trailer, like, this is going to be great. And I do think now that maybe that's why they backed off with as much press when it came near the date, because they actually watched it and were like, we can't put this much more money into this.
Charlie's like, fuck this movie.
It was pretty bad. It definitely jumped in, and you didn't have to wait around to find out anything about the creature. That's for sure. Within like 5 minutes, you've seen the whole movie.
Yeah. Which, I liked, and like I said, after like the first hour, it just stopped kind of making sense because it was bouncing around a lot. And I get, with a lot of the Asian movies, Asian horror movies, like they add that humanity aspect. I mean, they've been doing it since fucking, the Kaiji stuff with Godzilla.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
of course.
So that's to be expected. And, you get a little
But there's
bit
a way to do it.
yeah, a little bit gets lost in translation. But this, like, stuff was too long. There was too much. There wasn't enough of this. And you're like, oh, man.
Like the thing with the cop and his daughter dying could have literally been a dude with a badge getting in a car with his daughter, her getting fucking killed, and then all of a sudden you see him at the end in that scene, and we still would have gotten it.
Yeah.
Like, or even the part with the general where he gives his badge back, like, oh, you're sweeping this under the rug, like, fuck you. But like, they spent way too much time, especially on that line, that I was like, we'll get it. If you just make him like the lead cop in every scene, even if he's in the background, we're going to recognize the face and then show his daughter get attacked and him freaking out. It could have literally just been a girl getting killed on the street and him running over and her being like, Dad, and him being like, ah, shaking his fist at the sky.
No.
And then them telling the press that nothing happened, him giving his badge, and then the fucking end scene. Like, we would have gotten that storyline. We didn't need them hanging out in the car and that whole other fucking Jurassic Park thing.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciated the little nod to Jurassic Park and stuff like that's cool. But yeah, the dad-daughter.
It went on a while.
Yeah, it went on too long, and then it just got too convoluted.
And it kept going back to it.
Right.
It was like going to the other scene, then back to the car again, but it was the same shit. It was just the thing yelling in the car because the egg was in the car.
Yeah.
And also, nobody thinks like we should take the egg out of the car in the beginning, like the second the thing shows up. And who the fuck also rides in a car with a giant fucking egg that's moving? Total chill. Like when the egg was moving, their reactions were not what my reaction would be.
Right. That a gigantic monster is coming after. Like, just keep it in here for safekeeping. It's cool. No, it's not. Yeah.
I mean, I'd be curious as to what was in it, but in that sort of situation, that thing would be as far fucking away from me as possible.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would fucking kick that thing, throw it, blow it, like do whatever, but like away from me. I'd be gone.
Right.
Not be in a fucking car with a kid and an egg and a fucking dinosaur
and like
outside.
just give the fucking thing its egg. Like just put it outside.
Right. Well,
Like,
what
what the
are they
fuck?
even doing with the egg? Obviously, they've just been hanging out with it forever. Like, fuck.
Like, it's not your egg, first of all. Give it back. It obviously wants it, and it's destroying an entire fucking village for it. Just give it back. And it just...
that could solve your problems real fast.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole thing goes on, and then, like, at the end, they add in the whole where, the cops talking to the monk or whatever, and he's, like, giving them all these wise wisdom, fucking limericks or whatever, and then it,
limericks.
Yeah.
Yes. the great Buddhist limericks.
Right. And then it cuts to him like
You
as
seek
he's telling the
enlightenment
story.
and in turn are given a limerick.
Yeah. He's in the cave, and then he finds out all this stuff, and it's like none of that was really alluded to at all. To me, it seemed like an afterthought, kind of like how Godzilla was, like how they played up that end with Godzilla, but that aspect was kind of alluded to throughout the whole fucking movie, where this is just like, oh, here it is at the end, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
I like the paintings on the wall too. They were really good.
Or
And it showed the people killing the monster and then the monster coming out of the darkness.
Yeah.
I didn't even get the dumb paintings.
No.
There's so much I didn't get.
I was like,
I didn't even pick up on them.
Yeah.
I'm like, what paintings?
Yeah. There were like hieroglyphs on the wall. Not hieroglyphs, but like pictorials on the wall. And they show each one for a little bit. So I was like trying to pay attention, like, oh, this is going to give the story of how like people become the monster. Because I thought that's where it was going to lead at the end. Like the small ones were actually humans turning, or like maybe once the egg hatches, they have to like latch to a human. I don't know, some shit, something.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking at the pictures, like, all right, I was seeking enlightenment. And no, it just shit on me.
Yeah.
And the story didn't even make sense. I actually was like saying what I was looking at out loud. I was like, okay, natives stabbing a monster. Son, monster that wait, is it another monster or the dead monster rising from the dead? There's a monster in the darkness, but people are happy or angry. I don't see spears, but there's hands in the air. Very confusing.
Yeah. Are they praising this monster or is it evil and they're killing it? They did kill it, but then there's something else. Like, yeah, it was confusing. So I was like, I have
But I
no
also think because
idea.
it was a temple and they had the altar, that was also alluding that the monsters had been human.
Hmm.
Or maybe monsters just get down with that shit. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. And then you have the little girl, spoiler alert, anyone who's listening, puking up fucking eels or worms or whatever at the end.
She's gonna be a monster too.
Yeah, yeah. I
Or
mean,
was that the
obviously.
monster leaving her?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I took that as
Mm.
whatever her connection to the monsters were through those whatever she. That was the only time the whole movie we see the eels too.
Right.
So it's just like, what the fuck? I
Yeah.
assumed it was when she puked those up, it was like detaching her from the monster.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know
Oh,
if it was
interesting.
that or it was like she's puking that shit up now and
Fuck.
that's proof she's turning into one or whatever. I was like, I don't
Yeah,
know
that's
what the
what I
fuck
thought
is
too.
going
But
on right
Charlie's makes a little
now.
more sense.
Yeah.
That maybe after that guy, the cop came and realized monsters and they made their peace that then she didn't have to be their caretaker anymore. And then he would be, since he didn't have his daughter anymore,
He would be her.
Right.
Yeah, that's that whole mother child protection
which is
theme.
real
Yeah.
big
Oh,
in a lot of the Asian movies,
here's
like
another
the
thing that
reincarnation sort of thing.
didn't make sense to me or I was confused on. Okay, so the brother hops in the fucking truck with the small monster in the back because I'm
Mm-hmm.
assuming he's trying to lead the big monster away from everyone to save the town. And then
Mm-hmm.
so the monster, I mean, obviously you don't see him in the movie again, so he kills him, but did it kill the small monster too? Like what it doesn't show anything. It just you hear a big roar and then
That's why I thought the brother ended up becoming one of them, because
yeah,
you also don't see the other older sister
right.
after that one scene.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
So I thought that was the family.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that could yeah, could
I
be.
just assumed he drove off into the sunset, led the big monster away, and got his ass kicked, and that was the end of him. But
Yeah, but who knows? Because
yeah,
nobody knows.
Yeah, I thought they were alluding to one of those things, like maybe like a lot of the movies I've watched, especially more of the Japanese ones, sometimes the creatures, like as they age, like somebody else can kind of inhabit them to like.
Hmm.
So I took it as at the end the bigger one was probably the sister, because that looked more like a chick, and chick monsters are usually
Yeah,
scarier, just
it
saying.
totally reminded
The
me of
little
the
one was the
fucking
brother.
the Rancor monster from Return of the Jedi.
It reminded me of the things from Stranger Things. The little one
Yeah,
did.
that too. Yeah.
Demogorgon,
Hmm. Yeah, there's a lot.
because it
There's a lot
had
going
that
on
kind
with
of
this
like
movie.
pop open mouth.
Multi
Um,
fucking Venus flytrap mouth,
mhm.
which is like the thing
Yeah.
now. Like every see, that's one of the things I hate about monster movies. It's like something comes up with a design and then everyone kind of does their version of that design. Like for a while, all the
Mhm.
monsters were looking like some sort of penis or vagina. After what was it? Dream Dreamcatcher? That movie with Jason Lee and the guy from Band of Brothers and stuff. But they all look like some weird, you know, open pussy with teeth, like a giant dick. I'm like, okay,
It's
this
the
is
Christians.
yeah, right. Sex
They're
is
the ones
bad.
controlling movies in the entertainment industry. They want everyone to be scared of banging unless they're married first. It's an easy way to take the teeth out of a vagina or a crazy monster dick, turn to a regular dick. Just get married.
Right. I mean, it makes sense to me. Makes about as much sense as this movie did. So, um, I don't know. You have anything else to say, Charlie?
can I have my hour and a half back?
Dude, and that's a thing, man, for only being like from start to end of credits, like an hour and 44 minutes. So the
Yep.
actual movie is only like an hour and a half. Dude, it
Mhm.
feels like a long movie.
especially with my blind ass having to read the subtitles. Like I
Oh,
struggle as it is, and then I'm like, oh my god, this is not worth the effort I'm putting into this movie.
Well, that's why that first night I ended up not watching it and watched it today instead because I started it and was just like, it was so dark. And like, I was like, I can't do this right now because I'm not going to
yeah.
pay attention. I already caught myself like picking up books. I picked up like a recipe magazine. I was like looking at my phone. This isn't going to work at all.
Oh yeah. I was totally hoping at least one of you guys would have actually read it because 2 minutes in, I'm like, I'm not doing this. So I'm just watching the movie, checking back in, like Cliff's notes. I'm like, all right, okay. Oh, so that person 20 minutes ago was, oh, okay, all right. But yeah,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
just a step above you, I gotta say. Checked in a little, slightly more, but still not nearly as much as I probably should have.
Well, I figured, all right, I mean, it's a monster movie and it's probably going to be pretty straightforward. At least that's what initially it seemed like. I'm like, all right, well, I can figure out who's related, what the fuck's going on. And then, like I said, once it starts getting towards the middle, like the end of the middle, I'm like, okay, I don't know what the fuck is going on now. I need to
Yeah.
go back. And then, I was checking in a little more frequently, but even with checking in, you're still like, I missed something.
I mean,
Fuck.
I watched the whole thing and read all of it.
Yeah.
I was confused the whole fucking time. So
Yeah. I don't feel so bad now. I'm happy I didn't waste my
Yeah.
time reading it.
Yeah,
Uh,
honestly, I think it would be better to watch it without reading it.
yeah. I mean, anyone who hasn't seen this and is listening to this before you see it, just watch it because even if you read it, it's not going to make sense because there's a bunch of shit in there that doesn't need to be in there. And enjoy the monster, I guess. And there's
Yeah.
blood and stuff, so that's cool.
2023 is really so far becoming the year of like, yep, I guess it's
Yeah,
okay.
it bums me out because
Same.
I
You're gonna spend that much money on all that CGI and two cool ass monsters,
yep.
and you can't impress any one of the three of us. Come on.
You make us sad. You made us sad.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And on top of it, you made us sad.
God damn it. Uh, well, I don't know. There's really not much more to talk about. So let's rate this. Let's rate the lake. Who wants to go first? Out of five.
I'm giving it a solid one.
Yeah. All right.
I give it credit for a decent looking monster and effects weren't horrible. But aside from that, it was yeah, not something I would ever consider rewatching.
Right. So one candy corn from Charlie over there. All right.
Hmm.
Oubliette, what do you got?
I'm like a 1.75.
Okay. It's about where I'm at. I'm like a 1.5.
Yeah,
Cute
I
little
thought visually it
zombie
was cool,
candy corns.
and I don't hate the storyline. I just think they execute it really, really fucking poorly. And they needed somebody in there to teach them how to like edit certain storylines to just show the shit we need to see because it wasn't going to be long enough for us to get attached to that many people because we're looking at cool monsters and shit. So they needed to be more concise with like letting people pick up on cues of the storyline throughout and making it simple because otherwise you're just fucking confused and have to Google it and then read
Yeah.
the synopsis and be like, oh, I missed that part or I don't understand that part because
Yeah.
that's what I had to do.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably what a lot of people have to do, which sucks, man. Because
So much
like,
potential
yeah, a lot of potential, or even just
and
it
an
could have,
original story.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, original enough.
it's a
Like,
story that's been told before, but like at least it's
yeah,
it's not a remake.
no, it wasn't, and that's another thing in its favor. It was like kind of something fresh, had some nods to some old school monster movies and dinosaur movies and such, and then it just went
Mm-hmm.
off the rails with other stuff that didn't really need to be in there, or needed to be explained more, or should have introduced something about it earlier in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't. So yeah,
Nope.
it comes
Sure
out
didn't.
to a 1.4. Fucking zombie, watery, salamandery monster candy corns. I don't. I feel like people should see it because it has some good stuff in it, but you're gonna be mad.
I don't know. I don't even know if I'm gonna recommend this to people.
Oh, yeah, maybe not.
Maybe I feel like I need to lower my number now that I think about that.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah,
I think maybe I'm giving it too high of a score just because I like monster movies and I was really hopeful and they looked cool. I think this is a 1 now that I think about it more. I'm not going to make anyone watch this because I don't want them to think I'd suggest it.
just because I hate
Well,
society, I'm gonna suggest everyone watches this. The whole hour and a half of it, and you must read
I mean,
the.
yeah, like if you're fucking annoying or if I've ever been rude to you in public, watch this movie.
Yeah, or maybe just watch like the first 25 minutes of it, or like the first 30 minutes of it, because it's got up and up until it
Oh, you
starts
know
getting
what?
deep. It looks good.
No, what you
What?
do is wait till an album you're really excited about comes out and like pop in your earbuds to listen to the
Just
album and watch this movie in the background.
Yeah,
And like every once in a while there'll be some cool shit.
yeah, he totally
Kind of.
do that. Yeah, visually it's cool. Like there's shit going on, monsters, but
Hmm.
that's about it. Oh, damn it. So bad. So bad because I wanted to like this.
I do
should have
too. I have
watched the
like a little
battery.
bit of guilt.
You
Like
should've.
I'm afraid that somebody who like worked on this movie is gonna hear this and like commit suicide. Just
Yeah,
kidding. They don't do harikari there, so right?
no.
So we're good.
Yeah, they'll be okay.
I'm just kidding. But anyways, I do feel bad about not liking it. And I think that, yeah, upon thinking about it more, I was just being nice because it looked pretty,
Yeah, yeah. Like
but it
I didn't
sucked.
read like much about it because I was like, I don't really care. But I feel like there's probably a lot of weirdness that happened which caused it to not be as good.
Hmm.
So I also, like I feel bad. I'm like, no, you were going in the right direction. You were. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's our review for The Lake, everybody. See it at your own risk. Who knows? There's probably some people out there that are gonna love it because people like a
It's
lot of
probably gonna
weird
make you
shit.
sad.
Yeah, maybe. But people like a lot of dumb stuff because everyone is accepting of all things trash. And that doesn't do anyone any good. Like sets the bar real low and then you get a bunch of mediocre trash.
Oh yeah, wait till like 10 years from now. It's just gonna keep getting worse because people are just gonna learn they don't have to be good at anything, but everyone will say, "Great job, buddy,"
Yeah, well, in 5 years,
except for me.
the
I'm gonna
right.
slap them across their dumb faces when that happens.
In 5 years, this will be remade in the American version. So
It's true.
It's true. It's true.
the new
They
take
might
on
they
the
might do that
lake.
next year.
Yeah, right. Fuck. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks, Charlie, for.
I didn't have a
No.
whole lot to contribute.
Charlie was so upset by this, he pretty much went mute through the whole.
Yeah, nothing to say.
He was stuck in a trance of hatred.
He was just fucking mad dogging us the whole time. Like, you fuckers made me watch this shit.
Yeah, he's had
Yeah.
middle fingers up this entire time,
He didn't put him down.
and,
Not
and
once.
I could tell that he was in thought, just being like, "How do I get that hour and a half back? And why am I wasting my time talking about it with
My
these
vote
fucking
was for the
people?"
battery.
We can do the battery, just not now.
Yeah.
Not now. This was for the lake. The lake, because the lake is special. The lake is so special, and the lake is good and tried really hard. And good job, the lake. I can't wait to see what you do next because you're a really good movie. You're great. You're a great movie. Don't read those other reviews.
Here's
You're
your
fine.
participation trophy, the lake.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in
Yeah.
again to this episode of Monster Candy Podcast, everybody. And
Oh,
next
even
time,
you
oh,
sound so sad. Everyone's defeated now. See what you did, Lake? You broke him. He loves monsters, and you broke him.
I do love monsters, and yeah, I was a little bummed out about this, but no, I mean, I figured it was probably not going to be that great because it had subtitles, and I was like, ugh. So that's like,
Okay, let's not. That can't be your thing. Like,
dude,
was it
I
gonna be
hate,
good because there's subtitles?
I hate but I hate
It's
them.
because they're speaking a different language, so they put subtitles there so you can understand them, because you don't know how to speak their language.
Didn't work with this movie because we still don't understand it.
Yeah, maybe it's the person who translated it's just not good. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it didn't.
All out of bubblegum.
Well,
Anyway,
hello,
thanks for tuning in,
Mr.
everyone.
Fancy.
See you next time.
I hear you looking for candy, man,
Bye.
bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Want some candy?
Groovy.
You ever dance with the devil by the pale moonlight? We don't have to be mean.
Yeah, Jack Burton just looks that big old storm right square in the eye and he says, "Get away from her, you bitch!"
You're gonna need a bigger boat. Your move, creep.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.